that match.
Thank you so much, guys. OG triumphing here over SK Gaming and in second place for now. I do want to talk about SK Gaming, especially about the picks and bans. Let's get that graphic up because it was starting off pretty well for them. They had their first rotation, Shen and Victor. Okay, possibility, maybe flex to Shen coming in there, but what happened after completely threw us for a loop.
Well, my problem, even with the start here for SK Gaming, and this is something we have to talk about with Freddy and his champion pool, we haven't seen him play Rumble. We haven't seen him play Ryze. He's not a guy who plays AP top laners. That is very key in the current meta, where Jace and Varus are power picks, and you need an AP component somewhere, otherwise you can't really pick these physical damage mid laners. Origen knew that, so they didn't have to early pick a Varus. They could just delay it. They took away the Rumble. They took away Corki as well, so all the AP is gone. And with SK then early picking the Shen, it left them without really any other options, in my opinion, to what else they could run up in that top lane, because we know Nara is going to be good into the... Sorry, we know now it's going to be good into the Rumble, but when you pick Shen support, you need an AD carry who can defend himself. That was not the case here for Candy Panda, which meant Enready was stuck there. We barely got to see any global plays in the early game, and that was a big problem for SK.
And a big problem was even with Shen there, at times you could see Origen just pinpointing that bottom lane, getting them into the lane and catching Candy Panda out a good few times. And, you know, as you said with the picks and bans phase for SK, I think it's a big point to highlight about the Rumble. We did only see Freddy play Rumble in one game up until this point. He was 1-4, but it was a very, very long time ago, back in the very first couple of weeks of the split. So I feel like SK fixed the problem where Freddy wasn't quite performing by putting him on tanks, and they're reluctant to go anywhere from that.
Right, yeah, and just my main concern is how SK is picking for themselves. That's fine, especially, it's fine as long as you can also take something away, or you can pick like a counter comp against what you expect to be heavy poke when you play Origen with Varus open, because Pekka has shown some fantastic games on it. Origen got the perfect composition for them. Massive mid-game spikes, Varus, Rumble, Corki. It's exactly what they want to use to snowball games. Normally they can finish them a lot cleaner than this one here, but SK Gaming didn't pick anything to counter it, and that was my concern with it, and also why I feel like they lost the pick and ban phase. They had some fantastic plays though in the game to obviously keep it somewhat even.
Yeah, absolutely. OG built up a great lead, but as you touched on, SK had some good plays. We saw it at the end there with the Sven-Freddy combo, and that's something we a lot of times talk about with SK Gaming, that Sven and Freddy rather sometimes really try and put SK in their backpack. Let's take a look at one of the replays where Sven has a phenomenal play, but at this point it's a little bit too late for everything.
Yeah, a little too late indeed. And, you know, this is what we've seen from Sven. He is capable of these plays, and, you know, Freddy is there right alongside him. We even saw teleport plays later in the game, but honestly, SK, they don't always seem on the same page as a team, though.
Yeah, in this case here, I would have loved to see Enraider's ulti come in way early. As soon as Sven is going in and calling, because the way the communication go for Sven here, he's saying, I landed my Sonic, I'm going to kick him back. And then as soon as that happens, Enraider just ultis onto him, because he came in very late in the fight. We barely got to see him apply any CC for himself. And that was one of the ways maybe they could have gotten a second pick before Source came in with this Leandris, which again is so insanely strong at the moment. Just his damage is insane on this Rumble here, which by the way was at 100% pick and ban. So far in 5-13, that's going to keep happening.
I think so as well. If we look at what this means in terms of standings, OG is now second. They own the head-to-head over H2K, and they play them next week, Thursday, of course, so that'll be a very interesting matchup. And on the side of SK Gaming, Copenhagen Wolves, they're not out of it yet, but the minute SK Gaming picks up a win, they are. So the Copenhagen Wolves have to win all, and SK have to lose all from this point on. So all left to play in that one. One final point, maybe OG right now in second. You mentioned that you weren't completely convinced yet with the macro level play?
I think the way they played around Baron this game was fantastic. I think more for me, it was the fact that SK Gaming found so many openings in team fights. That was a bit of a concern. It was also what Gambit used yesterday to beat them, simply outplayed them on the individual level. But we're going to have to see more. I mean, Origen have a fantastic mid game still, and they are a good team. Yeah,
of course they are, but it's very interesting to track as we go into the last two games. Now, as we look towards our next game between Elements and Fnatic, we'll hear from Elements head analyst Quinlan, who we caught up with earlier today. Let's take a look.
Thank you very much, Shox. I am joined by Quinlan of Elements. You are the analyst, of course, for Team Elements. I do want to ask you a little bit, after welcoming you here to the LCS, what exactly would you describe your role on the team and a little history about yourself?
My role on the team is I do a lot of research type stuff. I look at what enemy, like our opponents are playing in solo queue. I look at what other regions are picking up on in terms of champions, things like that. they ask me a question about runes or item build, I look into those kind of things, and then I help with pick and ban. I also do the more basic stuff like saying, oh, this rotation wasn't that great, or you should have been here this time. So it's a bit of everything, but a lot of it's research type stuff. So, yeah.
Nice. You definitely have a lot of that going on in your head all the time, I would imagine. Easy to get that stuff mixed up. I know I certainly do. A little bit about the team, though. Elements are a team that, a lot of people called them a super team up until this last year when they were called Alliance, of course, and you're a little bit newer onto this squad. What would you say has really been the biggest changes that have resulted in some of their, frankly, disappointing performances of late?
Well, it is, compared to last split, 4 completely new players. Only Frogman was on this team last split. Nif and Tabs were with the Alliance team last summer, but they haven't played together for a long time. So the synergy doesn't completely carry over after not playing for that long. And on top of that, the meta's obviously changed. It just is. Teams are getting better. And then on top of that, if you look at a lot of our losses, regardless of what else happened, we'd do some critical mistake early, like level 1 deaths, or a bunch of deaths at like 8 minutes in the game, or we mess up a lane swap, even if no enemies are around. So it's a lot of those mistakes like that that are just lack of concentration, or whatever you want to call it, on stage. It just things don't follow through, have cost us a lot of games. And I think this break, after the season is over, we'll have a lot of time to focus on those kinds of things.
Well, it's a good thing that you're very well aware of all this stuff going on. And, the season is soon to be over, but everything is still in flux. You still have a chance to make the playoffs, and getting that top 6 spot would be excellent for a team like Elements right now. Do you have any plans to, or what exactly would be those plans to try and get yourselves into that top spot?
Well, for one, if we win all of our games, we're guaranteed a spot because we win the head-to-head with Rocket. And just the way the brackets were, we're guaranteed to be in playoffs if we win. Of course, we're playing Fnatic today, so it's not that easy. But yeah, I think this next week, we're just really going to try and tighten up a lot of like the little mistakes and clean those things up so we can actually let the game we practice show through. And I think between that and then the little bit of time we have before playoffs go off and only preparing for one opponent, we can really refine a lot of the mistakes we're making and look more solid, basically. Or we have more of a game plan going in than all these mistakes holding us up.
Still definitely a chance, and every single game counts, of course. Thank you again for joining us, Quinlan. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break as Elements and Fnatic will get ready to gear up onto the Rift. Don't go anywhere.
The Heartthrob Peke playing the Heart Seeker Varus.
Niels, insect.
Oh, Niels has got the Chaos Storm! Catches Mithy and Niels spins looking for the kill. He will find it! The big barrel bonk onto Candy as the body slam follows. Cosmo's gonna stay alive and Mithy is going to save Amazing. Going to pop Chain of Corruption, did not connect on the Gnaw. Gets a double stun into a double taunt into a double kill. Niels gets the kill, a flash forward from the body slam of Amazing. Gonna get more. Soaz was burning down fast and Freddy's looking for the kill. Holding on to sole position of second place